Hi everyone. Today I wanted to have a brief discussion of a 1975 movie called Smile. This is a recent release by Fun City, new boutique label here in the U.S. I think this is the fourth or fifth release from Fun City. It stars Bruce Dern, Barbara Feldon, Jeffrey Lewis, Michael Kidd, directed by Michael Ritchie. It's the story of a young American Miss Beauty contest, teenage girls. It's set in Santa Rosa, filmed in its entirety in Santa Rosa. It is it gathers a group of local winners. There's maybe 24 of them who come to Santa Rosa. We see the backstage, the preparations, the interviews, the rehearsals of their talents. Some of the girls are very veterans of these kind of beauty contests. They know all the tricks. And then there's the one girl who sort of represents the audience viewpoint. She's a newcomer and she has doubts as to whether all this ritual has any real meaning at all. So it very much contrasts city, the big city, versus middle America, the optimism, the optimism of small town America versus the cynicism of the big city. And the cynicism of the big city is represented by Michael Kidd, who is a choreographer. It's implied a once famous choreographer. Down on his luck, he comes to a beauty contest. His talent, he's way below his own talents, at least in his own mind. And he really looks askance at all this great enthusiasm and optimism. He sees his job as turning sweet young high school girls into Las Vegas showgirls. So we get this small town America sort of as a ritual. It's satirized. We're always seeing it. Are we seeing it as an affectionate satire, or are these people being put down? And we also have a contrast between sitcom comedy, represented by the writer of the piece, Jerry Belson. I'm not using sitcom comedy in any disparaging terms. Jerry Belson and his partner Gary Marshall wrote many of the greatest, the best, funniest Dick Van Dyke shows, and many other comedies as well. Belson will go on to create the TV version of The Odd Couple. Michael Ritchie, on the other hand, is sort of a documentarian. He doesn't cue us. He's filming all this backstage stuff and even the performance itself from a bit of a distance. So we're not being cued to feel one way or another, which is a really interesting outlook. And also, we're being led to contemplate the whole nature of competition, something that Michael Ritchie did in his two Robert Redford movies, The Candidate and Downhill Racer, Skiing and Politics. And he would soon direct The Bad News Bears, probably his most famous or his most commercial film. Bruce Dern plays the head judge. He is a junior American Miss himself. He's full of optimism, fun. Barbara Feldon, he's an RV. He sells RVs, and we hear his spiel. The endearing part of this character is he really believes it all. He believes in all this optimism and that everything should be good and hunky-dory. His son, he's a dynamo, and he's known throughout the community as Big Bob. And he has a son, Little Bob, who's exactly the opposite. He sees through all this optimism. He and his two friends try to take pictures of the girls in their dressing room. Gets caught doing it, and Bruce Dern also has a friend who is the husband of Barbara Feldon, who is the chief. She handles the activities, oversees the activities that all the contestants are going through this four-day ordeal. And and their marriage is totally on the rocks. He's become an alcoholic, and it's sort of like the cancer on all this optimism, and it even shakes up Bruce Dern a little bit by the end of the film. So we have this satire, we have this optimism, and it runs a really fine line. Michael Ritchie himself and the production company, they decided to release the film in Fresno and not in Santa Rosa. And during the performances, there's like 4 nights of performances. They bring everybody in the town who wants to come, and everybody wants to come. The extras were offering to pay to be an extra to sit in the crowd, and I think the auditorium filled like 1,500 people. But Ritchie thought that perhaps he had gone too far, and that they might come after him in Santa Rosa itself for showing the town being rather superficial, if nothing else. But there's enough endearing qualities to the movie that he didn't really have to worry about that. And the film itself was not a success. It played, and they didn't really know what to do with it. It's such a sort of hybrid kind of film. It played well with audiences, but it didn't have, when audiences would come, but and it previewed well, but nobody came the next night. And so it sort of dropped out of sight, but then the New York Film Festival picked it up, and it played for 2 nights at the New York Film Festival. Got a rave review from Vincent Canby, a positive review from Pauline Kael. And so they released it again, but again, it was a dud at the box office. I saw it a few years later in repertory cinemas, and it became a kind of cult film through the years, especially during the repertory years, and I guess when it was shown on HBO or some cable movie, because it has a very good reputation. It's far above what its success was in its own time. And in this Fun City edition, this is the slipcover, has a picture of one of the contestants. There's when I looked at that, I said, I don't remember the bathing suits being like that, and they weren't. This is the actual artwork on the cover of the Blu-ray, and it gives you an alternate opportunity. If you don't like that cover, you can change it to this one. This I think was the actual artwork that was the poster art that was used when the film was released. And it also comes with a booklet, pretty good essay in it. This is Annette O'Toole on the cover, and I haven't really talked about the girls who were in the. Annette O'Toole is one of the veterans, and she's showing the ropes to Joan Prather. Joan Prather will go on to 8 Is Enough, and then sort of drop out by the late 80s. But we also have Melanie Griffith and Annette O'Toole. As part of this Fun City edition, there's a commentary by 2 gentlemen who have tons of information on everybody involved in the film. But again, we get, I'm always like in a movie, especially a movie like this that involves a beauty pageant where girls are on parade in kind of a meat market kind of atmosphere, that we don't get the feminine perspective. And then in this commentary, there's also a lot of dead time. These commentators know everything there is to know about the movie, so they give you a lot of information, but a lot of times you hear them chuckling at the dialogue, but the sound of the dialogue is not turned up. So usually when you get 2 people, they fall over each other trying to get everything they want to say out. But and we get a pretty good interview with Bruce Dern, a contemporary one, in which he reminisces about the film, and he has some really good stories. But we don't get any of the girls. Annette O'Toole, she was in Melanie Griffith, especially there's a scene that probably would take people aback today when the 3 little boys, 13-year-old boys, when they try to take pictures of them in the dressing room, we get a fair amount of nudity, especially from Melanie Griffith. And Melanie Griffith was only 17 at the time. And I commented on it was a totally different time where, kind of like anything goes kind of thing. And the Puritanism, repressive Puritanism of the 50s and that had shed away in the 1960s, and people were just wanted it to be a little bit more open in their outlooks. Of course, now again, we're in sort of a different kind of Puritanism. But it would have been nice to get their perspective on what they thought, about how they were portrayed, and as they were very young, and Colleen Camp is also one of the contestants too. So they're all very good. I would say that they really the whole cast is outstanding, and you have to credit Jerry Belson's writing and Ritchie's very good timing. They had a great cinematographer too, Conrad Hall, and he shot mostly with available light, so you get a lot of and they were using real locations, so you get a lot of light where it's like white coming through the windows, the glare, we just see white in the background, and it's very effectively done, and of course it contributes to Michael Ritchie's ambitions to present this film as he did in some of his other films in a more documentary vein. So this is Smile, 1975. I think it's a solid, despite some of my negative comments on the extras, and nevertheless is a solid presentation, and it's a really entertaining movie that even might make you think a little bit about some of the rituals of Americana, nothing else. Okay, so that'll wrap this video up. Thanks to everybody who stuck with me to the end. Hope I said something interesting. I will, you guys take care, and I will catch you next time.